Well, but this is a topic that I'll be discussing is the is this story that's going viral, and it has to do with the tragic passing of a young woman by the name of Shanquella, and the title of my video is the tragedy surrounding Shanquella is the reason why I choose to ride solo. If you guys are not aware of what happened, basically Tranquilla is a 25-year-old business made successful entrepreneur who was set up by her so-called friends that was found dead at a Mexican resort where authorities originally stated that she died from alcohol poisoning, but new video emerged that showed that she was assaulted, and her death is now being investigated as a homicide or violent crime. So Sinkila trusted her so-called friend that they had her best interest at heart, and they lured her in to her early grave. They invited her to Mexico, and she thought, okay, these were authentic people who she can trust, that they were going to take care of her, that she was going to have a good time, that she was going to enjoy herself. But I'm becoming of her heart. She wasn't aware of the fact that these same call friends that she thought were genuine had evil intentions towards her. And this just solidifies my reason why, as a man, especially when you go on your own way, it's like, this is the reason why I ride solo. This is why I don't keep a lot of friends. I don't associate with a lot of people because people always pretend to be somebody that they're not, and they put on a facade, and you don't really know people unless you like really spend a good quality time with them. And people have a tendency to show their true colors at the worst time. So the issue with this is that these so-called friends of hers were jealous of her because she was a successful businesswoman. She had her own business. She owned a store. She had another business where she helped braided ears for little girls. She was a go-getter. She was someone that went after what she wanted, and she had ambitions, and she was successful with doing that. And she was around a bunch of snakes, so-called friends who pretended to like her, but deep down inside they hated her because of her success, and they were jealous and envious towards her. And they invited her to hang out with them at a Mexican resort. And in her mind, she thought these were her true friends, but deep down, these friends were plotting and scheming on how they were going to take her out. And this is kind of like, it kind of like reinforces the reason why, as a man, like, especially when you see people true colors, especially when you have so-called friends, people show their true colors. Once they show you their true colors, believe it. Don't ever go against your gut instinct. Don't ever go against the feeling you have inside of you that tells you avoid this person at all costs. Because when you put your faith and trust in people, they're gonna let you down. And she trusted these friends of hers that they were going to be there with the intent of have a good time with them, and she felt comfortable around these people. So there was a one so-called best friend of hers that she have known for 5 years, 5 years, I believe, and these other two females that were invited, she wasn't aware of who they were. And basically what happened was that, I don't know if you guys ever watched the video. It's very graphic. It's like graphic per se. It's not like blood or anything like that. But Shanquella was actually naked. She had no clothes on, and her friends, like one of like this. I thought it was a transgender, but it ended up turning out that the woman that attacked her was an actual female. Like it wasn't a transgender, but she attacked Shanquella. She was like punching her. She like grabbed her by the hair and threw her down, and then her so-called friend, this best friend of hers, was videotaping the fight, and he was like, "Oh, you're not gonna fight back? Like you gonna let her hit you like that?" And Shaquella said no. You could hear her like say it on the video, and you could tell like Shaquella was not the type to fight. She's not the fighting type, and they basically surrounded her, and then they like she beat her to a bloody pulp. And then another friend that was associates with the female that attacked Sinquella end up grabbing her Shaquella by the neck and like body slamming her on the ground. And they said that was the fatal blow that killed her. Because after that, she basically couldn't move. She was like incapacitated, like um and they end up doing autopsy. But let me go before I go to the autopsy. So these friends were very vile. They're very wicked. They're very vindictive. So after they beat her, they left her dead body at the hotel, and then they reach out to her father and ask for money, and they actually tried to scam her father out of money. And then I think they took her card and bought tickets to go back to North Carolina because Shanquella is originally from North Carolina, and these evil pieces of shit met with Shanquella's mother and father and told her that Shanquella died of alcohol poisoning. And they have the audacity to sit down and break bread with their parents, meaning they sat down at the table and eat with them, knowing that they beat their daughter to death. I mean, how evil and wicked can you be to just like you planned to jump her, then you beat her to death, and then you want to meet with her parents, make up a false story that their daughter died of alcohol poisoning, and they didn't have decency to at least call an ambulance and get her help. They just left her body at the hotel and just went back to North Carolina and just acted as if it was a normal day. So now the FBI has gotten involved and they're actually doing an investigation into the matter. And it was six so-called friends of hers that were at the resort in San Jose del Cabo. That's where they stayed, and they were stayed at the Swanky Fondurous Beach Club. So she was found dead at the Villa Linda 32, which is a rental offered by Cabo Villa. And like I was saying, basically, her so-called friends called her mom and told her that she died, and they told her mom that she died from alcohol poison, but the mom was skeptical about it, and she did hire a legal like a private investigator, where like the private investigators did further investigation into the matter, and they did an autopsy. And during the autopsy, they found that Shanquella had like a broken neck, and her spinal cord was severed. Her vertebrae was was broken and stuff like that. And during that autopsy, it was determined that there was foul play involved because originally the Mexican authority said that there was no foul play involved and that she died from alcohol poisoning, but the mom was persistent about the fact that there was more to the story because these so-called friends of hers, these vile pieces of shit, when they were talking to her mom about what happened to their daughter, they all had different stories. So that started to raise a lot of red flags, and the mom was like, no, 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 she's not buying the story that her daughter died from alcohol poisoning. She wanted to do a further investigation to the matter. and she hired a private investigator. And after all that transpired with the investigation, they determined that there was foul play involved, and that these wicked witches set this poor woman up to jump her, and then you know like they caught her in a vulnerable position because they know that they couldn't do it on American soil because they were going to get charged to the full extent of the law. So they went to a foreign country where the laws are set up differently, where they could evade the American judicial system or the legal system, where they could be persecuted for the crimes they committed. So in this particular point now, the FBI has launched their own separate investigation to the case, and there is a legit reason as to them being fully persecuted because there's actual video evidence of the crime taking place where she was assaulted by one of these women, and then there's a separate video of another woman who's claimed to be Hispanic that took her, grabbed her by the neck, and lifted her up and body slammed her. But it just kind of like reinforces, like I said, my own beliefs as to why it's better to just ride solo, why it's better to just stay to yourself and do you. Because when you're around a lot of people, right, when you are the type of person that have the need to want to be liked by others, you tend to be in positions where it leaves you vulnerable to haters, people who want to pray for your downfall, people who want to, harm you, especially when they see that you have made it from nowhere and you actually have rose up and become a transcender or somebody who didn't allow the circumstances of their life to dictate their future. Because, like I said, Shanquella was a very successful businesswoman, and she had a whole life ahead of her. And she was also the person that traveled extensively throughout different countries. So she was very adventurous. She had a lot of ambition, and I'm sure she wanted to do more with her business. She wanted to probably expand it beyond just our local area. And she was very successful. And supposedly she was the one that bought the plane tickets for her so-called friends to celebrate the I think it was somebody's birthday in Mexico. One of her so-called friends' birthday. So, like I said, these people are not her friends, and I don't like when people claim that these were her friends because no friends is gonna record you getting assaulted, and especially when you're in a vulnerable position, no one is gonna record, no so-called friend is gonna record it and then edge on the person that's attacking you to keep attacking you and not step in and intervene on your behalf. Because her best friend or so-called best friend, I'm gonna use the word so-called, that these people are not her friends. Friends don't do this to other friends, right? Her so-called best friend that she have known for about 5 years, he was the one that was recording the altercation between the assailant and the victim, which is Sanquella. And he was like, "You're not gonna fight back. You're not gonna fight back. You're just gonna stand there," like stuff like that. He was basically edging the woman on, who's the aggressor, to keep attacking her. And he never once intervened on Shanquella's behalf. Never once spoke out and say, "You know what, that's enough." She's obviously not fighting back because Shanquella wasn't fighting back. And I think she was a small woman, but she wasn't the one to fight back. So what ended up happening is that she got jumped apparently because there was more video go that was learn around learn there's other videos out there that claim that this other woman grabbed her by the neck and body slammed her, and that was the fatal blow that killed Shanquella. And the autopsy report showed that she suffered from, this is in quotation mark, severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. And basically, she was immobilized. At that point, she could have got injured at the initial stages of the assault. She could have got injured then, and she wasn't able to defend herself. Um, and like basically they planned this all out. If you think about it, if these so-called friends of that the two girls that attacked her, I don't think she really known. I think two of them she didn't really know. So they all talked amongst themselves and said, you know what, they were planning to set up this woman. So like I said, this is why it's best to just be your own person. I actually don't like I don't fuck with a lot of people because most people are fake. I already witnessed it. I've already gone through it. Especially when you're in a group setting, and you're trying to be liked by others, or you're trying to fit in. People have a tendency to want to put you down, degrade you, ostracize you, treat you any type of way they want to treat you. And it just reminds me that people cannot be trusted. And like I said, people are good at putting on facade because I'm sure they had they had Shanquella thinking that, oh man, these are my friends, they have my best interests at heart. They will never harm me. She never thought that, going to Mexico would result in her getting killed. She had no, you know, she had no indication, I don't think, in her mind that these friends was gonna plan to try to set her up and get her, killed. That's why I'm like, you gotta vet people properly. You gotta really vet people out before you get comfortable with letting them in your personal space. Because there's your body is like a vessel, but like where you reside and you live in is your sanctuary. And you can't just let anybody in your sanctuary because not everyone is gonna have good intentions. Like I said, most people are evil. They are not to be trusted. And Shanquella was I could tell she was the type of person that was just she would allow, even she didn't judge people, or she didn't like help. Like you got some people, right? They just are very loving, right? And they accept people despite of their flaws, despite their shortcomings, and whatever issues they may have, they still accept people for who they are. And you got to understand that you got to always vet people properly before you allow them to come within your inner circle, because at the end of the day, you got a lot of snakes out here that would hesitate to strike you when you least expect it. And some people have deep envy and jealousy towards you because you're either doing something for yourself, you're successful, you're making it work for yourself, you're making something happen. And it just tells me, man, you gotta be very careful, man. Very careful with the people you keep, the circle you keep. And it's nothing wrong with writing solo. It's nothing, doing things on your own. I enjoy my own company because I realize when I'm around people, when you're around people, you associate with people, people bring a lot of drama into your life, unnecessary drama, things that you had nothing to do with. And then you take on their own demons, and like it robs you of your peace. And the most important thing you can have in your life is peace of mind. Like peace of mind far supersede any amount of friends you may have. If you have your peace of mind, that means you can be able to be at rest, man. And that's one thing I value over everything else is peace of mind. And we live in a social media era now where people want like to be liked, they want to be popular, they have the need to want to make like friends. But these people who you claim are your friends are not really your friends. Most people only hang out with people for certain things they provide for them. So they're not really they're not really there for the person for the right reasons. Some people only like you based on your talent. Some people only like you based on the fact that you have the ability to make people open up. or your energy. They feed off your energy. You got a lot of energy vampires, people who will like literally suck the life force out of you. Because there's certain people I could just, you could just sense their energy, or their vibe. You're around them, all of a sudden you feel exhausted. You just need to take a break. You got a lot of people like that who will feed off your energy. And Shanquella was the life of the party. I could tell based on the way she, because the way she looked and how she carried herself, that she was the one that, got all the attention from, and that could also be a motive as to why her so-called friends attacked her, because she was attractive. She usually get the attention out of the group because not only was she attractive, but she was successful, and that also caused them to have a deep rooted envy and jealousy towards her, because she was like the light of the show. She was the beacon of light, and a lot of people don't want to see your light shine. What they will do, when they see that your light is shining, it's like they will try to dim it. They will try to like cover it, if you get what I'm saying. Or they would try to use certain things against you, say certain things about you to make you feel inadequate, because they see the potential that you have, and the type of person you have, and the type of person you are, and they don't like that. Some people hate you for the fact that you're just living and you're doing something for yourself. You know how many people I've witnessed, encountered, that would hate me, that hated me for the fact that I didn't live up to the stereotype that society had for me. Oh, I was someone that made something work for myself. I actually went out there and achieved something. Um, and people would hate you for that. People would hate you to, like, for the fact that you went out there, you made something work for yourself. You didn't allow your circumstances to determine your outcome. You didn't become a product of your environment. And when you're someone that fight against the grain, right? And you are, you have, worked hard and you've done something for yourself. You got people out there that will hate on you, and some of them will try to, harm you. And it's so prevalent amongst the black community, because you got a lot of crab in the barrel, uh out there. It's a crab in the barrel mentality that's very strong in the community, that one person is out there, one crab is trying to get out the bucket, and this person, as far as supersede any expectations of them, hating ass niggas is gonna want to grab that person back down into the other, bucket, in the other, into the other group of people that that just don't want to succeed. If you get what I'm saying, like, so they hate, the friends of hers obviously hated on her, and they didn't want, they were jealous of her success. So this article that says that the video that's circling around social media showed, Shanquella being beaten inside of a hotel room. And in the video, someone can be heard, could at least fight back, which is her best friend that I was mentioned to you before. But yeah, so that's basically it. So it's the thing that also, there's another so-called friend of hers that went to go see her the next day after Shanquella was already dead, and he claimed that she was unresponsive, and he was playing some music and caressing her hair, some creepy ass shit he was doing with her. And allegedly, there's this woman that came out and said that that same man raped her during high school. And there's also rumor, there's also this is the rumor going around is that he actually violated her body while she was, incapacitated, or she was dead at that point. So these people are gonna get arrested, man. They're going to face prison sentence, and karma is a bitch. And I feel it so hard for the father. The mother I feel it bad for, but especially the father because I could tell that he deeply loved his daughter, and he's like, I can't, I would never get to see her have kids of her own, never get to see her walk down the wedding aisle, her marriage, and she had a whole life ahead of her, because she was only 25 years old, young, full of ambition, was very successful in her endeavors as an entrepreneur. And when you're that successful, no matter the gender, whether you're male or female, when you're that successful, this is when you need to be extra careful with allowing certain people in your circle, because they're going to measure you up with their lives and see how how much more you have compared to them, and that's going to cause them to have a lot of resentment towards you. And that tells me that when you are moving up in your life and you're making ways for yourself, you got to be way more careful with allowing people in your life, because that's when people are going to come around, and these are going to be pretenders. They pretend to like you, they pretend to be cool with you, just so that they could get close to you and inflict harm on you. So, Shanquella, I'm sorry for a loss and unfortunate, but it just reminds me you gotta ride solo. You gotta ride solo, man. It's better to just stay to yourself, especially as a man. You can go in your own way. If you deal with the modern day woman, it just the need to want to be liked by others, bro. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And not everything that glitters is gold, man. Just because you have a lot of so-called friends doesn't mean your quality of life is going to improve. In fact, more people bring more problems in your life. And when you don't have all that drama, and you don't got all that necessary beef with people, it just makes your life a lot easier to deal with, and it's more frugal. You get more things done. You're more productive. You know what I'm saying? But it just reminds me, man, it's better to just ride solo. It really is. It really is. But I'm seeing people watching the stream, but I'm not seeing no comments, no likes. Like the stream. Show some support. I'm spitting facts here. Um, this is another thing I realize that's a problem within our community. We don't support each other. We so quick to tear each other down, and we don't like to see each other do well. Like I said, there's a lot of crab in the barrel in the black community. Uh, you got this woman that was successful, that was doing good things for herself, and she got taken out by her own people. That just keeps reminding me that niggas ain't shit, and most people can't be trusted. And look at this. I'm making a video speaking some real truth, and I'm not seeing no comments, not no likes. It's like people would rather see you fail than succeed, and it just tells me this is why I really don't keep a lot of so-called friends, because most people are not really there with you for the right reasons, and it's better to just cut people off than try to be liked by others or fit in. Because when you try to force yourself onto people, or you want to be you want to feel like you're a part of a group, that's when people really going to tear you down, and they're going to try to do everything to make you feel less than a person. And it's important that you realize your purpose. You know who you are, and you stand on your principles, and you don't ever compromise who you are just to be liked by others, or just to feel the need to make friends. Because friends are overrated. Friends are overrated, man. They're not everything that society likes to paint them as. Not they're I'm telling you. All this needs to be like by others is not all that is pan out to be. But anyways, can you at least like? I mean, like the like. Can you like this stream? Can you show some form of support? Comment at least. Like what's the point of me making a live stream if no one is going to support it? I'm not seeing no comments. I'm not seeing no likes. You know what I mean? At least show some support because I'm speaking about an issue that is not just unique to the situation, but it speaks truth about our overall society and how people are. You know what I'm saying? It's like people only like to hear about bad things that happen to you. As soon as you hear about a tragedy, someone is gonna want to act as if they really had condolences for you, or they like to hear bad things because it gives them a sense of pleasure. But if you talk about important things, or if you talk about relevant things, people tend to not want to hear it. But I'm just speaking, from my experience, and it just makes me realize that most of you people ain't shit, and y'all can't be trusted, or people in general can't be trusted. And look at this. I'm making a live stream and not even one person liked the video or is commenting or stuff like that. It's just reinforced. It just makes me realize why I choose to ride solo. And like sticking with this topic here, Shanquella was too trusting of people. She allowed people in her circle too easily, and she didn't properly vet people to make sure that these people who she allowed into our inner circle were people that were reliable, people that were trustworthy, and people who she can depend on and know that they will have her back when she needs them. No, these people that she thought were her so-called friends had bad intentions towards her, and they wanted to take her out, which they did, and they lured her into a trap. And at that point, she was at their mercy. So it has to be known that when you are out here in this world and you're trying to make a living, nothing is wrong with being to yourself, because there's a stigma that's associated with being a so-called loner. People say that you're weird, you're strange, you're creepy, you're this or that. There's stigma attached to being a loner, but there's actually more benefits with being a loner than being a so-called extrovert or someone who has a lot of friends. Because when you're around a lot of people, you got to deal with a whole list of personalities, and then people bring their problems and their issues into the not relationship, but into the friendship. And then you got to deal with their issues, and you got to take on their demons, and it's like that could drain you, take you away from your focus of what you want to pursue in life. And a lot of times people will they will measure you up and see how their life measure up to yours, and they will try to compete with you. So whatever you do, they try to do more. Whatever you have, they try to have. You know, when you dress a certain way, they try to dress that way. When you talk a certain way, they try to talk that way. They try to mimic your life and try to imitate you and try to take everything that you have to try to run with it. And then they also try to look you up and down to measure you up to see what your weaknesses are. It really is like that. So you got to be extra careful and mindful of that, and you can't allow people to just come into your life without doing your due diligence to make sure that these are people that are qualified. Just like when you're applying for a job and you are filling out a resume, you listen out your qualifications. A job is not gonna just hire you based on the fact that you are of a certain based on the fact that you graduated from college. They're gonna hire you based on other qualities. They're not gonna just look at the fact that you have a college degree. You gotta have qualifications for that job, and they properly vet people out before they allow the person to work at the company. They got to go through a list of steps. They got to apply for the job. They got to go through an interview. And also during the interview, they may have to do a follow up interview. And then they got to do a background check. I'm saying, why can't people apply the same pressure with people they associate with on a daily basis? Properly vet these people out. You got to talk to them, get to know them first before you allow them in your life. A job is not going to just allow any person to their in their company working without properly vetting that person out first. That person got you got to go through separate steps of the interview process before you can even get a chance to even work there. And even after passing these list of stipulations, which is the interview process, fill out the paperwork. You got to go through background check. You got to do a drug screening. You got to go through all the list of things to be eligible to even work there. And even after you go through those other list of things, once you start working there, you go through this thing called orientation, right? Which is like typically a week to 2 weeks where they train you in how to do the job properly. So a job makes sure that when they hire someone, this person is well equipped to do the job efficiently. They have to be well trained, and they also have to have a clean record because they're not gonna just hire anyone. They don't want to hire someone that has a criminal history or is a known criminal. They want to make sure that the job has good eligible fit workers to do their job properly. And that's what I'm saying in the sense of when you're trying to meet people and make these so-called friends, you should vet them properly like how a job will vet you. You can't just walk into any job and say, "Oh, I want to work here and I'm gonna start this day." Like they're gonna be like, "Who are you? You're not invited. You are in you're what do they call it? It's a word, there's a word for it. You are an infiltrator." And that's why I'm saying like a situation with Shanquella, she allowed people in her life so easily without properly vetting them, making sure that they passed certain tests before she can allow them in her circle. And it's unfortunate because one of her so-called best friend that she known for 5 years, allegedly, set her up because he invited two other females that had beef with her, and he left her hanging. So even when you allow certain, that's what I'm saying. It's better to ride solo because some people who you think are your friends are not really your friends, and they could put on a facade, and they could have you thinking that, oh, this person is somebody who I can depend on, and they will make you think, oh, I can trust this person, I could trust this individual. But you gotta really vet people properly. Like even if it takes years, you gotta get to know people really before you allow them in your life, because not everyone who claims to be your friends are your friends. And here's another key component of vetting people properly. Go, let me tell you this. This is the key component. This is how you really vet someone properly. Go based on what they do, not what they say. It's easy for somebody to say I love you. It's easy for somebody to say I care about you. It's easy for somebody to say, I would never do this to you or that to you. But it's one thing for them to actually follow that up with actions. And action is a verb, it's a do. Love is an adverb, I believe. So if somebody's not doing what they say, their words is null and void. And I'm sure, Shinquilla showed her love and appreciation to these so-called friends by actually doing. She's the type of person that would do what she said she was gonna do. Because if she's the type of person that went out there and made something of herself, she actually backed up what she said, what she's saying, or what she think with her actions. And when you're around people, when they see that you actually are proactive, they tend to have a lot of animosity towards you because you're a reflection of who they want to be. And a lot of times they wish they could be you, but instead of them using you as a source of motivation, they want to take you out. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure they don't want they want to harm you. They want to pray for your downfall because it's like they feel inadequate within themselves to the point where they don't want you to do well and they want you to fail. So, um, another thing too, the video, man, it was heartbreaking because Shanquella never wanted to fight, and she's not the fighting type, and she was beaten really badly, and she was found dead with, like I said, with a broken vertebrae. Her neck was broken. She had like bruises all over her face. She had a lump. She had a lump on her head. She had a lip was split in half. She had bruises on her face. Basically, she was beaten to death. It was vicious. It was vicious. It was callous. In the it was callous the way she was, handled. Basically, the act that they carried out was simply just uncalled for, and it's evil. It's evil, man. And justice needs to be served for the parents of the victim uh, of this woman, and I hope they get served life in prison without the chance of parole. And all of them need to face prison sentence. They all need to be locked up. And I hope that just treats justice doesn't take its hold, but some people are gonna take matters into their own hand. And the father, during the interview, he said, it's like a nightmare. I can't even sleep. He also continued by saying, I just want some truth because this doesn't add up right. And this is what he told WSOC. And his name is Bernard Robinson. He also added, by the grace of God, I think I'm going to get to the bottom of this. God ain't gonna fail. It's going to come out. I'm not giving up. I'm very confident that I'm going to have peace of mind. Ah, man, it's so unfortunate, man. This is so messed up. And the mother recalled remembering her daughter as a hardworking business owner who was happy to go to Mexico. And she continued by telling the newscast that I looked at some of her posts that she had put up. She was really having a nice time, and I don't know where it went wrong from there. So the mom was saying basically that her daughter was very excited to go to Mexico, and she was looking forward to spend quality time with her so-called friends. Because I'm never going to put the word friends in this, because these are not her friends. These were a bunch of fake, phony ass snakes that were a bunch of jealous haters, and they wanted to do nothing but take her out because they couldn't be half of the person that she was. She said the mom continued by saying, let me go back. She said she told me that they had a chef. They were getting ready to eat. They were eating tacos or salad or something. And the last message that she sent her mom was this: "Okay, I love you. Have a good night, and I will talk to you tomorrow." That was the last message that her daughter sent her before she was viciously attacked and killed by those monsters and so-called friends that she thought she was hanging out with to have fun with. And she said after that she never had talked to her child again, and she never made it back home. And these friends made up a lie saying that her daughter wasn't feeling well and she died of alcohol poisoning. How ruthless and callous can you be to take because there's allegedly they took the credit card information from Shanquella and bought a plane ticket right back home, met with the parents and told the parents that the daughter died of alcohol poison And it's like, how callous can you be to just leave her dead body there at the hotel in Mexico and go meet with the parents and make up these like outrageous stories about how our daughter died, and then break bread with their parents, sit down, eat, and just carry on with their life. You know what I mean? These people are ruthless. They are evil, and they just need to be persecuted to the full extent of the law. Um, like, and they need to get dealt with. You know what I mean? Because what they did to this woman, this poor woman, was fucked up. You know, it's evil. It's vicious. I don't know what to say anymore. It's fucked up, man. And then the father had to spend over, like, I think $6,000 to have Shanquella's body what do you call it? There's a word for it. Basically, he had to pay a lot of money to have her body shipped over to North Carolina. I mean, is it North Carolina or Charlotte? I don't. Is it? I think it's North Carolina. Make sure I get the information right. Yeah, they had to pay like $5,000, $6,000, I think, or more, to have her body shipped over to North Carolina. So yeah, it's fucked up, man. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up because I gotta get ready for work soon. But beware of the company you keep. Is the if is you know it's the word, it's the word I would say. And don't allow anybody into your circle unless you really properly vet them and make sure that these people are the people that you are associating with are trustworthy. But you can't trust anyone at the end of the day. I think the only person you can trust is God, and you just gotta rely on yourself at the end of the day because no one is gonna have your back like you do. You know, there's a saying that your shadow is the only one that follows you. Is the only thing that walks beside you. Where you go, the shadow goes. But you realize with friends, these people who you think are your friends, they're always never going to be around you. They're always not going to be there by your side when you need them the most. A lot of times, people only want to be around you when they need something from you or they're asking you for a favor. It's only when they're using you that's when they pretend to be your friend. But when you're struggling, when you're going through your hardships in life, you're facing a lot of difficulties in life, that's when they come along and pretend to be your friend. And Shaquella, in her situation, she was the type of person, I mean, could tell that she was a given. She liked helping people out, but not everyone's supposed to get help. Because as soon as you open your arms and help people out, then all of a sudden people just gonna take advantage of that, and they're gonna expect you could always gonna be the one to help them out in need, and then they start taking advantage of that. And yeah, you can't be too willing to help everyone out, and you gotta really vet people properly before you allow them in your life. And yeah, justice needs to be served. Let me see if I can read some of these comments that's posted on this article. It says all who knew prior to this happening and all that were present to be recording it, watching it, are all guilty, as they were working concert. I just can't fathom how these things sleep at night, how they continue on with their life on a day-to-day basis. And sadly, some of the comments here are gut-wrenching to an already horrific situation. So yeah, man, these people are callous. They're evil, man. To continue on with their life as if nothing happened. And that guy that recorded it, he's a coward. And he claimed to be a best friend. No best friend is gonna watch their friend getting attacked by someone else and just edging on the fight and not gonna step in and defend your friend. No, that's bullshit. He's not a best friend. He's a snake. Um, Somebody else comments that there's no question that it was her friend, in quotation mark. It looks like one is watching from the bed while a female wails on her. She trusted girls who obviously were jealous of her beauty and success. I pray her parents and family get justice. This seems like it was cold blooded and planned. Exactly. That's why I said it. Seemed like they planned this whole ordeal. They lured her into a trap, and they knew that they could get away with it Well, they now the news is out, so there's a chance they're not gonna get away with it. But they initially thought they would get away with it by having her, move like by making her, meet with them in a different country because they know the laws are different in there versus in America. Because if they would have committed the, act in America, the criminal act in America, there's no way they were going to escape. They were going to be charged with murder. But now there's certain loopholes they can avoid with it being in Mexico because United States don't have jurisdiction over the issue, because it's up to the Mexican authority now to investigate and see what's going on. Now the FBI has stepped in, which is a good step in the right direction, but the it's up to the Mexican authority to also make sure that this investigation into the crime moves further into the point where these women can actually be persecuted in America by American judicial system. So, like I said, I hope they get charged with the crime and they are locked up for life because what they did to this woman was so evil. And I could tell that she was also jumped by these women because even when she obviously wasn't fighting back, but they took pleasure in inflicting harm on her. And they kept hitting her and stuff even after she wasn't moving. These women, I'm just sick and disgusted that they actually have the audacity to leave her dead body at the hotel, buy a ticket to meet with the parents face to face, and just make up these lies about how their daughter died from alcohol poisoning, and just have the nerve to sit down and eat with the parents. Oh man, these people are sick. And I think it was a cousin of Shanquella didn't feel something was right and said, "Oh, was there a fight that took place?" And they all denied it. And this so-called friend of hers, a guy that came the day after she was killed, wanted because if nothing happened between, like he didn't know what was going on. He's acting oblivious to what actually took place the day of the murder. And there's a lot of red flags with him too, because he was alleged to have raped a woman in high school. So there's a thing now that the is raised in this suspicion that he actually violated her dead body. But the truth will eventually come out, and these people will be persecuted. And I can't wait for justice to be served. All right, that's about it. I'm about to wrap this video up. Hope you enjoy it. Like, comment, and subscribe. I saw people came into the stream and they leave, but anyways, I'm gonna speak the truth no matter what. And like I said, it's usually your own people that would do you wrong, and we tend to not want to support each other. Cause look, I'm making a real. We're talking about some real stuff. I haven't let not even one like or one person to comment on the stream. But you know what? I'm still put the video out because the truth needs to be said. And that's just why I don't fuck with people. This is why I stay to myself because most people are full of shit. They can't be trusted, and the same people who you think are your so-called friends will be the same one to fucking line you up and take you out. And, and this is why I ride solo. Anyways, take care. Have a good one.